Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Sometimes, a single look can rewrite everything you thought you knew about someone. And when Xiao Zhan walked into that room, quiet, poised, utterly transformed, he didn't just turn heads. He turned the world on its axis. Welcome to Star Watch Now, where we uncover the stories that shape global stardom. And today, we're diving into the transformation of Xiao Zhan. A moment so visually and emotionally powerful. It's redefining not only his image, but the entire narrative of Asian celebrity culture. It wasn't the kind of moment anyone could have planned, and perhaps that's why it struck so deeply. In a world of premeditated red carpets, rehearsed smiles, and orchestrated press appearances, the reemergence of Xiao Zhan in that quiet, dimly lit space was nothing short of cinematic. There were no announcements, no flashing cameras, no event posters bearing his name. And yet, when he walked into the room, it felt like the air itself shifted. Those who were there recall an almost reverent silence, the way conversations hushed without instruction. Eyes turned, not out of obligation, but from an instinctive need to understand what had just entered their orbit. And what they saw wasn't merely a celebrity returning to the spotlight. It was something far more compelling. Xiao Zhan had not arrived to reclaim attention. He had arrived as if he no longer needed it. His presence carried the weight of time. Not in the sense of age, but in the sense of experience, the kind of experience that refines rather than wears down. The delicate charm of his earlier years had matured into something quieter, more commanding. It wasn't just his physical transformation, though that alone was striking. It was the way he moved, deliberate, self-possessed, grounded. He walked with a clarity that only comes from weathering storms far from the public eye. Those who had once followed his journey with passion now found themselves stunned. Not because he had changed, but because his transformation seemed to speak to something deeply personal. It mirrored the way people grow when no one is watching, the private battles, the silent rebuilding, the evolution that happens when the world has moved on but you haven't stopped fighting to find yourself again. And so, in that fleeting moment, the world didn't stop because a star returned. It paused because something rare had occurred. Vulnerability had found its way back into the room, wrapped in strength. Xiao Zhan didn't need to say a word. His presence alone told a story of resilience, of quiet triumph, and of a man who no longer needed to prove who he was, because now he simply was. There are transformations that feel temporary. Costume changes, marketing shifts, makeovers designed for attention. But then there are evolutions so intentional, so quietly powerful, that they mark a turning point in someone's journey. Xiao Zhan's reappearance wasn't simply a visual surprise. It was the visual embodiment of inner work, of reinvention earned through time, struggle, and self-discovery. The moment he stepped into view, it became clear this wasn't the same image the public had once known. Gone were the soft silhouettes and delicate lines of his earlier persona. In their place stood a man sculpted not just by physical training, but by experience, by the weight of both expectation and solitude. His frame was lean yet defined, not flashy, but sharpened with purpose. The clothes he wore didn't scream for attention. Instead, they whispered refinement. Every fold, every angle of his suit seemed crafted to mirror the clarity with which he now carried himself. His hairstyle, subtly textured and slightly disheveled, didn't try to impress. It reflected freedom. The carefully undone look was less about fashion and more about letting go of control, of embracing imperfection while still commanding presence. There was nothing accidental about it, yet it resisted the idea of being overproduced. Felt lived in just like him. More than just aesthetics, Xiao Zhan's visual transformation spoke to a deeper alignment between who he is and how he chooses to be seen. He no longer wore clothes to fit into an industry mold. He wore them to declare that he had outgrown the need for one. His style didn't follow trends. It suggested a man in control of his own narrative, no longer performing for the approval of others but expressing something inwardly rooted and quietly assured. What struck those around him wasn't merely how good he looked, It was how complete he seemed. The evolution wasn't about impressing a crowd. It was about communicating a state of being, a deeper sense of knowing who he was becoming. And in a world so often obsessed with surface-level change, Xiao Zhan reminded everyone that true transformation radiates from the inside out. And when it does, the world can't help but take notice. There are moments in life so brief, so quiet, that if you blink, you might miss them. Yet somehow, they echo louder than 1,000 spoken words. When Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo crossed paths again, unexpectedly, unscripted, what unfolded in the space between their eyes was not just a glance. It was a memory awakened, a bond resurfacing, and a silent recognition of everything that had come before. It wasn't the kind of moment that screams for attention. It whispered with gravity. What made it so powerful wasn't the setting, or even the fact that it was caught on camera. It was the honesty. That fleeting second carried the weight of years, of shared beginnings, of long silences, of paths that once ran parallel but had since diverged. There were no cameras shoved in their faces, no PR-friendly poses. Just two people, meeting again at the intersection of past and present, carrying everything they had been through both together and apart. Wang Yibo's reaction wasn't dramatic, but it was deeply human. A slight pause, a flicker in his eyes, the subtlest shift in posture. All signs of a person suddenly reminded of a time that shaped them. He didn't flinch or turn away. He simply saw. And in that moment, what he saw wasn't just the evolved image of Xiao Zhan. It was perhaps the echo of who they both were when their journeys were still intertwined. And Xiao Zhan, for all his transformation, stood still. Not as if he were trying to impress, but as if he already understood the significance of the moment. He wasn't seeking validation. He wasn't performing. He was simply present. Strong, silent, and whole. There was no need for words. None could have captured it. Because what passed between them in that shared glance was not just nostalgia. It was acknowledgement. It was a mutual understanding that what they once shared had not vanished. It had evolved, grown quieter, perhaps, but no less real. In a world constantly moving forward, where fame is fleeting and connections are often transactional, this one moment of human sincerity, of emotional clarity, felt like a rare gift. Not to be dissected or exaggerated, but simply felt. And that, perhaps, is why it moved so many. Because deep down, we all long to be remembered, not for who we were, but for who we've become. When the moment between Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo surfaced, it didn't just trend, it resonated. It struck a collective nerve among millions across continents, generations, and languages. What began as a single, silent glance between two people turned into an emotional tidal wave, sweeping across fan communities and casual audiences alike. But this wasn't mere celebrity gossip. This was something more intimate, more universal, a moment that made people feel. In a digital world where attention is fleeting and trends expire within hours, this encounter lingered. It wasn't loud or scandalous. It was delicate, meaningful, and it spread because it reflected something everyone longs for: connection, growth, recognition. Across platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Weibo, TikTok, hashtags bloomed not from corporate campaigns but from genuine feeling. Fans didn't just repost images. They wrote poems, edited videos, drew art, and poured their hearts into interpretations that mirrored their own experiences of change, distance, and reunion. In South Korea, Japan, the United States, Thailand, France, Canada, and beyond, the reaction was the same: emotional, stunned, moved. Young adults saw hope in Xiao Zhan's transformation, a symbol that growth takes time and intention. Older viewers felt a kind of nostalgic ache, a reminder that life comes in chapters, some open-ended, some revisited when you least expect. For many, the moment was deeply personal, touching on themes far larger than fame: forgiveness, healing, and the beauty of becoming. It wasn't just fans who responded. Stylists, filmmakers, and cultural critics around the world joined the conversation, not to exploit it, but to explore it. Why had this touched so many? Why did this soft, unscripted interaction feel louder than any red carpet? The answer was simple: it was real. And in a world hungry for authenticity, that reality felt sacred. More than a viral moment, this became a mirror for global audiences to reflect on their own journeys. It reminded them that evolution is possible, that people can reconnect without speaking, that silence can speak louder than noise. It wasn't just about Xiao Zhan or Wang Yibo anymore. It was about all of us, the stories we carry, the people we outgrow or return to, and the quiet power of being seen. And just like that, a single glance became a global phenomenon, not because it was planned, but because it was true. But here's what many missed. This wasn't sudden. Behind the scenes, Xiao Zhan had been working, on his mind, his body, his art. Gym hours, language classes, a shift in how he carried himself in public. Subtle changes in his airport looks hinted at the storm brewing underneath. He didn't just walk in as someone new. He earned the right to take up space in a room that once tried to shrink him. For years, Asian male idols have been boxed into tropes. Soft, obedient, eternally youthful. But Xiao Zhan's transformation is part of a growing wave, joining artists from Korea, Japan, Indonesia, and beyond, showing that maturity is not a threat to fandom. It's an evolution of it. His reemergence isn't just a personal win. It's a cultural moment, one that challenges expectations and inspires artists and fans to embrace reinvention without apology. So what's next? Rumors swirl. Magazine covers, global campaigns, film roles unlike anything he's done before. But the real story isn't what comes next. It's how he's showing the world that you don't need noise to make impact. You don't need approval to grow. And that sometimes the most powerful statement is simply showing up as the version of yourself that no one saw coming. If this moment shook you, if it made you feel something, that's the power of authentic transformation. And here on Star Watch Now, we'll keep bringing you the stories that move, inspire, and redefine global celebrity culture. Backhand index pointing right, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Speech balloon, drop a comment. What did Xiao Zhan's transformation mean to you personally? Bell, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss the next global moment. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay inspired, stay watching.